What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another live stream for you guys, where we will be talking about all the latest goings on in the Tottenham world over the last 24 hours, as usual. Well, not as usual, but as of the last week or so, we have the great Brian Daigle joining us today. My brother is still on his honeymoon in Mauritius, so Brian Daigle is thankfully stepping in and stepping up to talk about all things Spurs. How are we doing, Brian? Are we doing okay today?
We're doing good, and as always, there's quite a bit to talk about. Never a dull moment as a Spurs fan. And how are you, Sim?
Look, we've, no lie, there's a lot of stuff been going on social media over the last 12 hours or so, which we will be addressing. Don't worry about that. But look, I'm feeling good. I'm happy with what's going on at the moment with Spurs and all the transfer business and everything. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this week has, because, you know, we go to South Korea on July the 10th, I think it is. So there's a lot of work to be done before the trip with what Conte wants to bring in. So I'm very, very excited, and I'm happy with what's going on at the moment. But yeah, look, I think it's going in a good direction.
It is. And if someone had said to me, we'll have 3 players in within, and 2 of them definitely first teamers and regulars would be signed within the first week of the transfer window, the experience and Premiership experience that these 2 players have got, I would have bet quite a bit against it. And we've moved in the right direction, so long may this continue. And we'll have to see where it goes. Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs throughout it. It wouldn't be Tottenham if it wasn't. And we go from there. But the first week is something to be very positive about.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Let's start with all the news, transfer news surrounding Tottenham at the moment. And we'll start with the hot topic, which I'm guessing everyone is wanting to hear us talk about, and that is the latest goings on with Christian Eriksen. Obviously, we'll address what's been said on Twitter and social media yesterday. But first, we will go through everything that has been said today. First of all, it's from we go to Fabrizio Romano. He said Christian Eriksen will make a decision on his future on his future club soon. Man United have confirmed their interest to his agent, while Brentford are still in the race. Spurs are focused on the right back, centre back, and then a striker. I think it's Giuseppe Mero from the Evening Standard. He says Tottenham are yet to hold any formal talks over a move for Christian Eriksen. And Ali Gold's coming in as well with an update on Christian Eriksen. He says the words coming out of Tottenham now seems to be downplaying any potential comeback for the midfielder. He, having been keen to stay in London, that is no longer the case, as he has many offers on the table. Spurs were last in contact with Eriksen's camp 2 weeks ago, but have not followed that up since. And That's all obviously good, credible information from good journalists who have a reputation for a lot of the times getting things right. They don't get everything right, but obviously they've got a very good reputation. I respect their information, and they might well be right on the money in terms of the latest for Christian Eriksen. That might well be the case. What we have heard, and just to clarify, what in terms of when I say what we have heard, this is coming from someone who has been feeding us information throughout of last season. He said about Conte having COVID days before anyone reported it. He reported that Skip was out for the season and required surgery 2 weeks before anyone reported it. He reported that Romero was going to be a major doubt for the North London derby, and no one knew anything about that. Before it was obviously the lineups came out, no one knew anything about Romero being out for the North London derby. He reported to us, and we reported to the fans about that information. He reported about Kulusevski being ill for the Burnley game as well, 2 days before the game, which no one else was reporting on. So to us, anyway, he has some credibility in the bank when coming to reporting on Spurs news, especially injury news and goings on within the club. He clearly has a good track record, and he clearly has some sort of good information within the club. Now, I'll preface that by also saying we haven't used him yet for transfer news. We don't know how reliable, I guess, he is for transfer news. So whether we jumped the gun by believing what he said in relation to transfers, I guess remains to be seen. But this comes from someone who gave us that information reliably, was absolutely spot on with all that other information, got that absolutely 100% right. And he came to us yesterday and he said, I've spoken to you guys before about how I believe Eriksen is likely for a few weeks, but I am now hearing that Eriksen has accepted an offer from Spurs, verbal agreement from Tottenham, and it could well be in the final stages. That is what he was claiming yesterday, and so we reported on it. Look, we're very open. We reported on that news. I'm completely open with you guys. You can argue maybe we jumped the gun on that, but he was pretty confident on the information, and we reported on that. He could have jumped the gun or got things wrong, and we could have jumped the gun on reporting it. We don't know yet. Nothing has come out to definitively say that Eriksen isn't coming or anything like that. Then they might be behind the news, or he might be completely wrong. We don't know yet, 100% sure. I contacted him today for clarification about, have you seen all the reports coming out and everything like that. And he got back to us saying that as far as he knows, let me just get his messages up. He says, as far as he knows, nothing has changed. He says potentially if Man United are making a ridiculous wage offer, that's something that maybe could swing the deal into Man United's hands. That's the only thing. And he says right now that offer isn't on the table in terms of a crazy wage package. He said, but as of what he knows, that he says that he still says Eriksen is coming home. He has agreed a verbal agreement with Tottenham. Nothing has changed as of last night. And he says that's what he understands at the moment. There is a verbal agreement. Doesn't mean that can't change. But that's what he says. So look, we're Tottenham fans. We're obviously also very excited about these potential moves and things like that. And maybe it's completely plausible that either the information was wrong or that we may be, as excited Tottenham fans, jumped the gun in reporting that news. The news coming out this morning suggests that could be a possibility. But I trust in what he's told me before. So I had no reason to doubt the information being given us. But he might be wrong. We have to wait and see. But as Tottenham fans, we are always going to give you the information we're getting because we believe that we want to give the information, if we believe it's accurate, to the fan base, to Tottenham fans, so they know what's going on. If we get information, we're not going to keep it for ourselves. We want to give it to other people, but it might be wrong, and we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. Look, and as I've also said that, Ali Gold's and Romano's updates are what they are, but there's no suggestion that he's agreed to join anyone else or anything like that. Nothing concrete has happened yet with the Eriksen deal. They're suggesting that there's not that their Spurs are shying away from the deal at the moment. That could well be a possibility. But we're just reporting what we're being told.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the first thing you got to say is, like you said, you have come out with this, and first of all, well done to you and Ben fronting this straight away and coming out and saying it as it is, completely right on. And then what's happened now is, obviously, especially with the transfer activity being the way it is, if you look at the romantic side of it, you look at what we lack in, it all makes sense. And there's obviously been some form of contact. When I was on with you last week, we were saying that at one point Man United may have offered or may be prepared to offer 350 grand, and we were saying, and as other sources have said, that hasn't happened, but they may come in with a silly amount of money. And that's the thing, it comes down to it, does he want the money, or does he want to come back home and be the romantic side of it, because we won't be matching 350. And there's nothing to say if he has agreed something in 2 weeks that, if it's only a verbal agreement, and we know what verbal agreement and gentleman's agreement means within our club, you don't know if a team from Europe, I know he can't go to Italy because of his heart, but it doesn't stop a team from Spain, Germany, France, Pochettino coming, oh no, not Pochettino, he's not there anymore, my bad, but it doesn't stop a Paris Saint-Germain coming in with a stupid bid, which could be, oh, wait a minute, it took me a long time to say forgive and forget, and Eriksen now with Basuma in, completes that midfield and gives us he brings the final thing that we're missing, which was creativity. And listen, it could still happen. It's not dead in the water. Alistair Gold has reported, and today obviously it's got a lot more clout that the deal looks further away than we were led to believe, and what your guy led to believe. Does not mean it's dead. It just means it's not happening as quickly or as smoothly or within the next week or so. It may take a while, but what I'm taking from it as well is they're focusing on other positions more. They're focusing on the striker. They're focusing on the left centre back, which we know is a primary target for us. So I don't think this deal is dead. I think it's just been kicked down the road a bit.
Well, we don't know that in terms of the deals. Like, no one really knew about Basuma until the day before, did they? So who knows what could spring up over the next few days in terms of this potential deal. There is nothing definitive about anything that's come out. All the reliable journalists, to be fair, they all seem to be contradicting each other in terms of Romano saying that Eriksen is picking between Man United and Brentford, and he said a couple of days ago that Spurs have made an offer, and Spurs have an offer on the table for Eriksen. He's choosing between that as well. Ali Gold is saying that he has offers from Man United, Everton, Newcastle, Leicester, West Ham, and Brentford. But Ali Gold said there was concrete talks 2 weeks ago, and they've been called. The Evening Standard said there's never been any concrete talks at all. They reported that this morning. Charlie Eccleshare on Friday said that he wants to stay in London, and he's now choosing between Tottenham and Brentford, and Man United are out the race because he wants to stay in London. That was on Friday. So all these journalists are contradicting each other. There's a lot of contradictions. So for me, there is definitely no reliable firm news on this. No, I mean, just as of yet. So it might well be the case that behind closed doors does have a verbal agreement. We just don't know at the moment. That's what we've heard from our source, and we'll have to wait and see. This news that's come out this morning does contradict it in terms of a verbal agreement, but there's so many contradictions, it's hard to keep up at the moment. Yeah, I mean, the other one I heard today is Chelsea are involved. That I can't remember where I heard it from, but it actually got mentioned. That Chelsea involved, they want him and Sterling, and want to get rid of Ziyech and who's the American Pulisic? Pulisic is with us, for God's sake. So there's another rumour there, and if Chelsea are in the frame, then that's another one that can offer serious money. We shall have to see. I think this one is going to drag for a while. I still think it will get done. I just don't think it's going to be as early or as quickly wrapped up as we thought. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but I just wanted to be fully open and transparent about the information we've been getting and we're putting it forward to you guys. And that's, we could not do it if you prefer. If we get information, we can just not share it. That's fair enough. But we thought that we would do it because we would want all Spurs fans to hear all the information that we've been getting. We don't want to keep it for ourselves, but we obviously might take some patience for all to come to fruition. I don't know. We don't know for sure, but that's just what we're hearing. In terms of the deal, from a Tottenham point of view, I'd absolutely love it. I think he would be a fantastic signing for Tottenham. I think he's exactly the kind of player we need. I also think that he actually, it goes under the radar that he's played that position before as well, because if you remember when, from a 3-4-3 position, the right attacking midfielder position, he's played that position before under Pochettino, if you remember. When we had that season, when we played 3 at the back with Alderweireld, Dyer and Vertonghen, we played a front 3 of Dele, Kane and Eriksen. And Eriksen was playing in that right, kind of floating. If you remember those assists he got against Chelsea in the 2-0 win, those both came from that right-hand side half spaces where he was crossing him in. And I think he could play that role brilliantly. So for people saying, he can't play in a pivot, he would have to change our formation, I don't think we would. I think he could easily be competing with Kulusevski for that right-hand side spot, attacking midfield spot in a 3-4-3. And if we do go to a 3-5-2, he obviously plays in central midfield as well. So I think he offers us tactical flexibility, quality in the final third. He offers us goals and assists, precision passing. I would absolutely love him at Spurs. I believe there's a good chance of it happening, even despite what's been said. And I really want it to happen. I think it'll be a brilliant story as well. So I think we could offer him Champions League football at a club he knows and loves, with a fan base who adore him. So for me, I hope we get it done.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope we do. But the one thing I was saying as well is if it isn't him, let's just hope there is a option B that they're already pursuing. So we're not, because we all know, I think we could say that the creativity is something we are lacking in that midfield. I think every single other part that is needed in midfield is covered by the 4 in Skip, Bentancur, Højbjerg and now Bissouma. I think the one thing that we're generally missing is that bit of quality, that bit of creativity. And if it isn't to be Eriksen, let's just hope there is someone lined up ready to go. And you were saying on the right side, it could be Raphinha. It could, with all the rumours we've had, or it could be someone else. Who knows? Would I like to see Eriksen? I've like I said, I've got over the forgive and forget, and I hope it's Tottenham, and I hope he doesn't arrive at Chelsea or something, because that will be horrible to see, and we'll just have to wait and see. But if it happens, it happens. If not, let's just hope we have a second option lined up, ready to go.
Do you believe that there's all these offers, according to Alistair Goddy, says Football London understands that Spurs were in contact with Eriksen's camp over a potential change just a couple of weeks ago, but have not followed up since, with the United, Everton, Newcastle, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford also making contact with the midfielder, as well as Ajax and one unnamed La Liga side. Who do you think that La Liga side could be? Barcelona, maybe, on a free?
If they're coming for a cash injection, it could be them.
He's on a free. Maybe they don't need the cash injection to
for the salary. God knows how their books are, especially if Lewandowski and everyone else comes in. But did you say Newcastle?
Yeah, Newcastle. Okay, apparently, so Leicester.
Newcastle are a threat regardless. Not just for us, for any team, as soon as they come in for obvious reasons. La Liga, I don't know what the rights are or the rules there for. I don't know if they're like Italy with the heart device he has, if it's even allowed in Spain. But you'd think it would be a Spanish team. I would stick a neck out and say PSG.
PSG.
I would stick a leg out and say.
They're not La Liga.
Oh, I did say La Liga. Sorry, I thought you said a European team. Okay.
No.
Forget that. It is definitely not Paris Saint-Germain. So yeah, if it's a La Liga team, obviously he can go there and play with his heart. So I would have to say, but you're going to think those two, aren't you? Yeah. You're going to think Barca or Real.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens if he doesn't end up joining Tottenham, if he goes to these other sides. But I'm still confident that it makes the most sense for us, I think, for him to join us. I hope he realises that in terms of ambition. And I think money-wise, we can offer him a top wage. We can probably offer him a big increase in what he was on when he was at Tottenham previously.
Yep.
I understand he's on a free, but do I really see, with Man United having been burnt so many times with big wages and big money, like giving Alexis Sanchez 500 grand a week and stuff, do I really see them giving Eriksen 350 grand a week? I don't know if I really buy that. So I think if he's in the between 2 and 250 a week kind of ballpark, I think that's a transfer that can easily be in Tottenham's range for wages, because I think he comes in back to Tottenham as a player, obviously of very highly appreciated, but because there's no transfer fee and we know his quality, I think that's a fair deal for him. And I don't see anyone offering him too much more than that. I
don't think he'll get more than that. In fact, I think we'll offer him less, but I think it'll be more. He'll be offered less, but more bonuses for appearances made and an assist and goals. I don't think it'll be that high, but we can pay that amount, can't we? We can see we can now afford to pay that amount. So it is an offer we could put towards him, but I think if it was me, I would have given him less, but laddered it with the bonuses.
According to Alistair Gold's article, it says Football London understands that Spurs managing director Fabio Paratici also attempted to sign Eriksen on a number of occasions when he was at Juventus and has been in contact with the Danes camp since the end of the season about a return to North London this summer. However, the word coming out of Tottenham now seems to be playing down any potential comeback for the midfielder. So that's definitely interesting that Paratici is a big fan of him.
Yep.
But in terms of downplaying a return, I mean, clubs do that for all sorts of reasons. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's definitely not coming.
Exactly.
It just means they want to either they want to keep it quiet, or he's not coming. But it couldn't just mean they want to keep it quiet for now.
It could be. I mean, I think it is as well. The way we're moving this summer after the announcement, we're expecting everything. Like Conte said, he wanted 6 players in before pre-season. And we're expecting these players in, and so we should be. It's what we've wanted for months and years, and it finally looks like it's happening. And maybe this is one that's just, like we said, hit a bit of red tape or has been kicked down the can a little bit because there's a target that we need and we can get in right now as opposed to waiting for other people to get into him. You've got to remember, with Eriksen, he's on a free, so you don't need to technically sign him by the end of the window.
Yeah.
You can sign him whenever you want. So with this deal, yes, if other teams are there, you want to try and get ahead of the queue, but there is no emergency to sign him. Yes, for the position, but I mean time frame. It's not. This has to be wrapped up by September the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So
the only reason there's maybe a bit of a hurry up is because there's
other two. Exactly. So it could be that we've just said, listen, it could, and I'm just picking 2 names that we've been linked with now. Let's put 3: Richarlison, Bastoni, and Raphinha. Ones that we've heard regularly that there's heavy links with. Maybe these deals need to be wrapped up quicker, and there's a bigger priority to get these deals over the line before we go and advance with Eriksen. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right, a couple of super chats before we go into the next topic about Eriksen. This one from the Lions, Sam. Eriksen down tools to get out of a contract with us. At the end, it all got a bit poisonous, if memory is right. Is this just being forgotten? I don't think that's an accurate representation of what happened at the end of his contract. I think obviously we'd reached a point in his Spurs career. He didn't want to sign a new contract. He wanted to leave. We tried to find him somewhere to go, but I think teams wanted him because we were demanding like 50 million. So I think teams were just like, all right, we'll just wait a year and get him on a free. But he really did, I think because we were demanding too much money, he wanted us to kind of lower our demands. We ended up getting 20 million from him in January. But I don't think it turned poisonous. It did turn a bit with the fans because they believed he wasn't putting his all in near the end. But I think there's a reason he wanted to leave, because he wanted a new project and a new start, and he'd lost a bit of motivation at that time to carry on with Tottenham because of the direction we were going in.
Yep.
After we lost the Champions League final, things kind of all fell apart. We know what happened. It wasn't just him. So I don't think it was all down to him as to why the relationship broke down potentially at that time. And I think he comes back to Tottenham. We're in a different place now. We're on the upward trajectory. We're back in the Champions League. We're going in the right direction. We have a world-class manager doing really well at the moment. So I don't know. I think we're in a different place now to when he left.
So I'll put my hands up. When before the year to 18 months before Eriksen departed, I was so frustrated, disappointed, hurt, let down, all the other words you want to use, because to me the way he just disappeared off. I started calling him "Where's Wally?" because he just went missing in big games. You couldn't find him. And he has so much talent and so much to give. And we all know Eriksen on his day is unplayable. He causes havoc. And I was bitterly disappointed. I don't know if people remember as well. There was a picture that got leaked before the Champions League final that showed he'd packed up everything in his house, ready to go to wherever pastures new, because Real Madrid were hot on the trail for him. And then obviously that fell through. So he looked like a bit of a fall. And then from then I was just like, just get him out. Just get him out the club. I loved him. He was one of my favourite players just for the way he plays football. But I was hugely disappointed with him and had been ever since he left. And then obviously he came back to Brentford and he showed that he still got it. He's shown that his appetite and everything was there. And yes, a lot of it was the direction of the club and the lack of investment and the lack of... But I can understand why he wanted to leave. His contract was running down, and that's what players do now. If they feel that they can get a better contract or they want a new challenge, it's what they do now. It's modern day football. So I couldn't fault him for that part. We got him out the door. We got good money for him for the end of his contract. And I really, really, really was adamant that I don't want him back. Adamant. And then obviously once we signed Basuma, I became, okay, now we need him for the creativity. So if he comes, he comes. I would like him to sign because of what he offers. But like I said, most importantly, if it's not him, the most important thing is we have a plan B, because we definitely need a creative spark in that midfield. And we go from there. But yeah, I was definitely one of them that was not happy with him when he left and how he left.
Fair enough. And Nikolai Moella says, Eriksen just played a double pivot with Højbjerg for Denmark, and I disagree with the notion that he was the only one downing tools. I think at the time, it was very early on in the Mourinho days, kind of, or at the end of the Poch days as well. Look, Eriksen was definitely not the only one who wasn't playing well at the time, that's for sure. Especially, you could argue, wasn't given their all or felt like they were maxed out, all these kind of whatever you want to say. He definitely wasn't the only one, that's 100% sure. So I definitely agree with that, but because he was one who clearly who made it public that he wanted to leave, obviously he gets a lot of the blame, a lot of the vilification. And in terms of him playing a double pivot for Denmark, I do think it's a role he can play, especially if you play him next to, say, a Basuma, who does a lot of the dirty work and he'll like cover every blade of grass. But as much as I think he can do that role, I don't think he could do that role, say, like in a big game where you need to do a lot of running and you need a lot of defensive solidity. I wouldn't want to rely on him in those kind of games, but definitely I think he can do that role. Yeah,
I mean, I would just add to that, when it comes to the downing tools, and I'll mainly talk about obviously the end of Poch. We know there was a few people in there. Eric Dyer was meant to be one of them, and a host of others. But I think the reason Eriksen took a lot of it was because obviously we knew how important Christian Eriksen was. We knew what a game changer he could be. We know he could change the game in a blink of an eye, where the other people like Eric Dyer wasn't as held as high within the Spurs fans as an Eriksen. But there was definitely more than most. And obviously the drop in his game from the lack of creativity, the lack of goals, the corners hitting the first man, the free kicks hitting the wall, where when we signed him, this was his number one. His conversion rate and corner kick success rate was huge. To just drop off, like literally off a cliff, that's what I think it was the most obvious one that had dropped off, didn't it? In form and what he could do in a game. So I think that's why Eriksen got it a lot. But yeah, he definitely wasn't the only one.
Yeah, definitely. But look, let's see how this story progresses. At the moment, there's not much. We're hearing that he has a verbal agreement with Spurs. Other reliable journalists, Ali Gold and Romano, and the Evening Standard are saying that Spurs are distancing themselves at the moment from Eriksen. We'll see how this one progresses over the next week or so. He's obviously going to have to make a decision sooner rather than later on his, or maybe he's taking his time, but he's going to have to publicly make it clear where he's going, and we'll find out. And let's hope that he does choose Spurs and we do get him over the line. I think him on a free transfer, not many better players we're going to get, but we'll have to wait and see. But let's move on. Let's go to the next topic, and that is about Raphinha. And this has come from Fabrizio Romano, and he says that Tottenham have been in contact with Raphinha, with Leeds wanting around 65 to 75 million, which is obviously a massive fee. He does obviously as well say on that, he says on the Raphinha situation, Barcelona agreed personal terms with Raphinha but no agreement on the fee with Leeds. Arsenal are in direct negotiation with Leeds and have been interested since March. Both Chelsea and Tottenham have been in contact too. So it's not just Spurs haven't been in contact. Obviously, Barcelona very interested, but don't know if they have the money for him. And Arsenal having been in direct contact. And it seems that they're the ones pushing ahead more vociferously than Tottenham at the moment. But 65 to 75 million is big money, isn't it, for someone like Raphinha?
It is big money. And again, it's Premier League and the club are going to charge these fees, aren't they? They're going to try, if they want to keep the player as well, they're going to put a big fee on him to try and ward off other people. And it looks like Arsenal, it looks like they're prepared to pay it. And who knows, like we were just saying, it could be this deal has dropped a bit because
Arsenal are getting quite far ahead in the Raphinha deal, and they need to put all their attention onto Raphinha if we really want him. So it could be something as simple as that. Clubs are going to put if they know they can get £65 million for a player, they're going to charge it, aren't they? They're not going to say, okay, no, it's a bit too expensive.
Can they get 65? Do you think?
Well, it looks like they may do. The negotiations may drop it down. Who knows? But if that's where their standing point is, then where Leeds take it is obviously down to them. But this may be something we need to focus on. Will he bring something to Spurs? Of course he will. Of course he will. He's a very, very gifted player, exciting, edge of your seat player, kind of that once he gets the ball, you just never know what's going to happen. And we'll have to wait and see with this. But maybe with Arsenal stealing ahead, we may need that. May be something the fans are saying. The board and Paratici are saying, right, we need to put our eggs in this basket, and we see what happens. But let's hope we do make contact.
It does seem that Arsenal, Spurs, and Chelsea are very much kind of dipping in the same pool as things stand for players this summer. So it could make a bidding war. Which would be not great for us, but good for the selling clubs.
Exactly.
Raphinha, I don't think. I can't see anyone spending 75 million on him. I think that's a bit of a ridiculous fee. Although he's a quality player, 75 million is a bit steep. I think he's definitely in the Richarlison fee of about 50 to 60 million. I think that's probably a fair price for the quality of player he is. I think in terms of him choosing us or Arsenal, I think we should have the pulling power to bring him in. I think him competing with Kulusevski on the right-hand side there would be phenomenal. And I think if Arsenal, if they bring him in, what are they going to do? Drop Saka? I can't see that happening. He's their star boy. As much as I love Kulusevski, and I do, he doesn't have that connection just yet as much as Saka does with the fans. So, it wouldn't be like a complete. There wouldn't be riots if we had to drop or rest Kulusevski. Whereas if Saka wasn't playing, that would be a big deal, wouldn't it? So, I think from that point of view, he's probably more likely to get game time at Tottenham than he is at Arsenal. But it's interesting.
I'm slightly the other way around, and the only reason I say that is Saka this season just seemed to pick up niggling injuries, didn't he? And
I think he played every game. I don't think he
did. He not? I'm sure he picked up a couple.
He did, but I don't think he missed any games.
Okay. So maybe that was even Arsenal rushing him back. What we've done before, and it's been a risk, and they don't have a lot of options. If Saka isn't fit, who do they play there? So don't get me wrong, I'd love Raphinha at Spurs, but I slightly think that he might get more first team football at the filth. But obviously, if you want to go play in Champions League and you want a world-class manager, everything on the real side, it favours us, doesn't it? The stadium, the manager, the players around him, Champions League. I'll mention Conte again because we've just seen what he can do with players, and what Raphinha's got right now, what he could do to enhance him is quite frightening. But I do think, unfortunately, he may get more time, more minutes at Arsenal.
Yeah, you think we'll get more minutes at Arsenal?
I think he'll get more minutes at Arsenal. I'd rather he come to us, though. That's for damn sure.
Interesting. I definitely would welcome him through the door. But obviously he's going to take away a big chunk of money from other targets like a striker or whatnot. That's which I don't think he can play up front. So he would be very limited just battling with Kulusevski for that right wing role.
I think what we've got to think about this as well is it's not just about bringing Raphinha in, it's getting maybe more on Bergwijn out as well, in case we're going to have way too many wingers and the balance of the side is just not correct. So we've got to look at getting players out the door as well before we start going top heavy on wingers and just having way too many in that position.
Yeah, I agree with that. Next up, the next story we're going to be talking about is Richarlison, and it has been reported from Miguel Delaney that any interest from Tottenham and Arsenal in Richarlison this summer is currently expected to be trumped by Chelsea, and obviously he writes for the Independent. And Gregory O'Keefe from The Athletic, he says that at the moment Tottenham have shown the most willingness so far with Richarlison, however, they have not lodged an official bid. Do you think we're worried? Maybe we're waiting to see what Chelsea moves are before we go on the attack. We're worried about being gazumped?
I pray to God not, because this is exactly what happened with Lukaku last season and Martinez, apparently, didn't it? We were full steam ahead with Martinez, and then obviously Lukaku and Chelsea came up and bang, that deal went through. One thing I will say, I can't remember who tweeted it, but it was a journalist. or it might have even been Sky Sports, that was saying the Chelsea owner issued a statement saying that they're very concerned about financial fair play, and it may halt them going on a big splurge this summer. So add to that with this, I don't see them. I don't see them going for Richarlison. I just don't. So I think they will make additions, and maybe they'll come in just to cause havoc. But I think they're going to be very, very conservative with their spending this summer, Chelsea.
Well, they have had a lot of big summers last, a couple of summers with likes of Timo Werner, Lukaku coming in, Havertz for 70 million.
Exactly. And look
They've
at the
had a lot
defence
of
they've
money.
lost. And look at all the defenders they're
So they
losing.
definitely have to rejig. They have to recoup their defenders, that's for sure. But we don't know what this owner is going to be like, do we?
Nope.
Because where is he going to be like Abramovich, where he pumps, hundreds and hundreds of millions? Or is he going to say, look, we've spent this amount of money and we have to maybe cool it? And if that's the case, I can't see them spending big on Richarlison, because they have Werner, they have Pulisic, they have Ziyech, they have Hudson-Odoi, they have a lot of players at the moment in those roles. Why would they look to immediately add someone like Richarlison to that right now? It doesn't make too much sense to me.
Exactly, especially like we said with the defenders. I mean, what's his name? Rudiger got confirmed and announced as a Real Madrid player earlier on today. Christensen's going. We know Alonso and I think Azpilicueta are out the door as well. And then you got to look at it. I don't know how badly this is going to affect them with financial fair play, or the what's it called? They had on them from the second half of the season due to the Ukraine thing. They couldn't get any money coming in, could they? So I don't know how that's affecting them with what they can spend or what they can or can't. Sorry, what they can or can't spend. But I just see Chelsea's main summer purchases are going to be rebuilding that defence. I just don't see why, like you said, and you mentioned the attacking players they have. I don't see how adding another one to it benefits them.
And also, there's rumours of they're set to agree a deal with Man City for Raheem Sterling as well,
another
for
one.
35 million. So especially if they get him.
Yeah.
Although we haven't been seriously linked with him, is Sterling one you would love at Tottenham?
I really,
35 million.
I to and fro this one. I mean, there's times that I see him and I'm like, I don't get what all the hype is about him. And then, like, do you know what? Sometimes, like Eriksen used to at Spurs, he has like a 2-month spell where he's on fire and he just is untouchable. But yeah, I don't think I'd have him. I don't think personally. I think, I just wouldn't. I'd rather Richarlison. I'd put it that way.
I think Sterling to Liverpool makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Why would him going back home to Liverpool where he started his career? He plays off the left-hand side. He can easily slot into Mane's position. He's a goal scorer. He can work really well under Klopp. I don't know why they. I guess maybe because City probably maybe wouldn't want to strengthen a rival.
That's yeah. They probably have to put a few more.
10, that's probably the main reason it wouldn't happen. But that would make complete sense to me.
No, it would.
I would take Sterling at Spurs. I think he'd be a great signing. And he can also play off the left-hand side. He can kind of do a job up front, although I'd probably rather put Son up front and him on the left. But I think Sterling would be a good player. But I think Chelsea's kind of seems right to me in terms of profile club and stuff.
Yep.
Where he's going from. I don't know if he'll join Spurs right now. I don't think he's that I don't think he wants to. As much as I hate to say, obviously we're a massive step down from City, and I don't know if he wants to take that step. Whereas Chelsea is not perceived to be that way anyway right now, is it?
Exactly. The only other the one benefit I can think is I think he has a good relationship with Kane, doesn't he? When he plays for England, they do have a bit.
They
of an
did in the Euros.
They do have a bit of an understanding, but I don't see it. I don't see it. But that's my own opinion. He could come in and absolutely smash it. I'll be like, hey, I was wrong, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I just don't see it.
All right, let's move on to the next story, and this is about Emerson Royal and his agent. And this is his agent, Emerson Zulu, who is actually his father.
Okay.
And his agent. He says, I've been in casual talks with Atletico Madrid, but I'm not just Emerson Royal's agent. I have other players, so I can't confirm this information released in the press. But I guess the takeaway is quite interesting that he's admitting basically there have been tentative talks with Atletico Madrid, and maybe there is some truth to what there clearly is some truth to what Sky Sports was saying, that Atletico Madrid is interested, and maybe he could be moving on to there over the next during the summer, because obviously we know we want to sell one of the wing backs. And if Atletico do have decent money, maybe they'll be willing to pay for him.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to know he's got other clients. I thought it would have just been not because I thought where you just look after your son and whatever. Oh, that's interesting to know. But yeah, it looks like like you said, Sky confirmed it, Sky mentioned it and brought it up, and it looks like the father's confirmed it. And we'll have to wait and see. We were saying last week we read something out, or you read something out. We commented on it that Emerson sees his future at Tottenham, doesn't it? He was saying, or words to that effect. So it's going to be interesting to see where this one goes. But we clearly need to get one of them off the books if we are bringing in Jed Spence and if we are bringing in a right wing back. So Emerson, I think, will be the one that brings in the most money out of Emerson and Doherty. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although Emerson, you could argue, also has the biggest scope to potentially improve, given his age and stuff like that, and he had a good end to the season. But I do think Doherty provides the final third output that I don't think Emerson is ever going to do in terms of getting in those positions. But Emerson, to be fair to him, they did step up. So, look, if he does go, I'm sure he's going to have a good career somewhere. But I just don't know if he's going to be at Tottenham.
Exactly, and as we said, he was brought back as a right back for a back four and Nuno, and was being converted into a right back on a back five or back three of Antonio Conte. So I think if he goes into a back four at a Spanish club or wherever he may go, he will do just fine. But it's not worth holding on to a player whose main asset is playing in the back four when we are clearly not going to be playing it this season.
Yeah, definitely right. I agree with that. Next up, we're going to be talking about a fullback, and this is from Jonathan Schrager, and I think he's an independent journalist, and he says Tottenham are among a number of clubs who have shown interest in Hoffenheim left-back David Raum. So David Raum has had a fantastic season out in Germany. He's 24 years of age, German left back, who can play left wing back as well. He got 3 goals and 11 assists last season in the Bundesliga. Had a real fantastic season. In terms of being offensive, he's one of the most offensive creative wing backs in Bundesliga. But obviously he does play left wing back, so I don't know what that will mean if we bring him in. Do we move Perisic over to the right? Are we looking at selling Sessegnon? I'm not sure what that would mean if we were to bring him in. He does also mention that it's not just us interested in him. And if I'm naming the names potentially interested in David Raum, he says Spurs, Man City, Dortmund, Man United are among numerous clubs to express an interest in David Raum. Man United have recently made an inquiry, but my impression is that it was only initial conversation, certainly no offers he made. So obviously not something that's anywhere near close to being done, but definitely a player of high quality from fullback, and one I would definitely think could do a very good job at left wing back for Spurs. But I don't know what that means for Perisic or Sessegnon if we do bring someone like that in.
So first of all, I mean, we were talking about Kostic as well, wasn't we, from Frankfurt? So it's just, it looks like we haven't closed the door on bringing a second left back in or left wing back. And it may be like I am an injury record is just atrocious. So it may be this is his final season to get the job done, or we will get rid, or something will happen with him. So maybe we want to have that extra cover ready so we're not at panic stations. And it also does give Perisic the option to go right wing back. Imagine if we get Spence in and Spence doesn't start off well straight away. Doherty's still injured. So it still gives that idea or the option for Perisic to go right and then have another left back or left wing back, ready to go there in that position. So we're not just plopping someone in like a Japhet Tanganga just because we need someone to fill that position. So I think there may be another left back coming in. I don't know too much about this guy, but the great thing that you said there was 11 assists that he's got last season? And we do know that the creativity is very, very important for him down the flanks.
Yeah,
so
true.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Do you think, obviously Perisic has been bought as a left wing back. Do you think it's possible if we do sign another left wing back, we maybe move Perisic over to the right? Do you think that is a possibility? Although he's not used to playing there, he's very two-footed. So maybe that's something that's a position he can learn to play.
listen, he's so experienced, he probably could learn to play there. But I think that will be, if it is a Jed Spence or if it is another right back, and they don't cut they don't get off to a good start, then there is the option to move someone highly experienced over there that can play with both feet to go into that role with masses and masses of international European football and domestic football experience to fill in for that position till we can address it. Whereas the left wing back, if he does do that and Sessegnon picks up an injury, then we're screwed. And you've got to realise that Sessegnon unfortunately does get injured a hell of a lot, so we do need cover there if Reguilon is going there.
Yeah, look, obviously that's also gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? The whole Reguilon thing.
Yep.
There was a lot of talk about him leaving, but that seems to have gone quiet for the time being. We'll have to wait and see. But obviously David Rambly would be a fantastic signing, but doesn't seem one that looks like a priority right now.
No.
And talk about priorities. This one is Jed Spence, and this is talking about this is from Fabrizio Romano. He says new direct contacts are expected next week for Jed Spence, and that's obviously one which we expect to. I mean, look, we've been talking about him for a long time, haven't we, Jed Spence? And this is one we expect to get done sooner rather than later. I do remember Ali Gold about 2 weeks ago saying in the next 48 hours he expects major movement, but that hasn't really happened. I think it's probably posturing on a potential fee, but surely this one has to get done at some point.
I mean, this has to. I mean, this rumour has been going since the second half of the season, hasn't it? Since after January, this has just been gathering more and more pace with this deal going through, and it's now dragging on. I remember not this Friday just gone, the Friday before, Sky Sports even said 72 hours and this deal is done. And obviously we're over a week after that rumour came out or that report came out, and we're not there. But this is one that we are just waiting to. It's been dragging on for a little while now. It's clear to every single Spurs fan that we need a decent right wing back. It's a position that has to be filled and has to be taken seriously. And it looks like that this is the main man for the job that Spurs have identified. So we just need to get this done. We just need to get this over the line. And it's been, it will happen in 72 hours. Yeah, it's going to happen next week. Yeah, they want this fee, but no, Middlesbrough want this fee. I like you just said, I think the fee is the stumbling block. Not the actual amount. I think the amount is agreed. I think the amount that gets paid up front is the stumbling block. And hopefully we will overcome these obstacles and at least say we've got someone in that position.
Yeah, I completely agree, but it seems to be taking its time, doesn't it? Let's see what happens this week. And one last thing from Ali Gold, and he's talking about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And there was actually an article from the Times saying that Tottenham could look to sell Harry Winks and indeed Pierre-Emile Højbjerg this summer if the right offer comes in after signing Yves Bissouma. Interestingly enough, though, Gary Jacob retracted the line about Højbjerg and he took that out of the article, and that is no longer part of it. And Ali Gold has followed that up saying Spurs definitely have no plan to sell Pierre-Emile Højbjerg this summer. He also goes on to say that Højbjerg is a massive figure. He says Football London understands that Højbjerg plays a big role in the Spurs dressing room and is part of the leadership group that has helped drive the club back into the Champions League, demanding the best from his colleagues. And I'm a massive fan of Højbjerg. I think ever since he got dropped for that game against Wolves in February, I think he's been brilliant. I think he's been our most consistent midfielder. I think he's been doing a fantastic job in the middle of the park, and I don't see any reason why we should look to sell him. I think he does a fantastic job going forward, and I think his passing is underrated. Some of the creative passing he made and pressing was fantastic, and I think he's such a hard worker. He's a proper leader in the middle. So for me, we have to keep him unless we get a ridiculous offer.
Yeah, I mean, everyone will know my feelings about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, as will this will delight Kirstenelli and myself and you and all the people that do think they're heavily underrated. And you look at it with a player that's played over 100 games for your club within 2 years, you won't find that in most clubs with players within 2 years playing 100 games for the club. He's a big part of that midfield, and he is a very, very important player. As they were saying off the pitch, one of the things I refer back to is, I've watched it so many times now, was when we unveiled him as a Spurs player and he did his first interview and his medical the way he talks and conducts himself and holds himself and talks about what he thinks he can do for the team is just incredible, and he puts everything on the pitch, and I am delighted to be hearing that there is absolutely no interest in selling him.
Yeah, for me as well. I think he's a great player now. I think he could even have more levels to go to as well. I think I think Conte trusts him a lot, and I think he's a very important member of the squad. One more interesting piece of news that's just coming out of Sky Sports right now from Dharma Chef on Bastoni, and he says the Bastoni one is very interesting one because Tottenham are still pushing to sign Bastoni from Inter Milan. So it looks like Bastoni is not being given up on just yet from Inter Milan and from a Tottenham point of view. Maybe, and as that also follows on from interesting quotes from the Inter Milan CEO, Moretta.
Okay.
He said yes to replace centre-backs than it is to replace a striker, so we're probably going to look to sell someone from that position. Obviously, everyone thinks it's Skriniar, and that might well be the case. But maybe if that deal does hit a snag, Bastoni can definitely become an option for us.
So, as you know, we've spoken about this here in the studio. I've done a poll on it on my channel, Tottenham on Tour. I've said on a lot of social media posts that I have said from the beginning, I don't think Bastoni is dead. I do not think he's dead. I think he will become a Spurs player. I think they're trying to sell as many assets as they can without letting go of Bastoni. I think they look at him as an integral part of their team. But if they cannot get this money that they need in, they may have to sell their crown jewel that will bring the money in. And we are waiting in the wings. I don't think this will get done before career. But I do think it will be done first part of July. I really am convinced and confident of doing this. And I think it is going to happen. I think he's obviously come out and said, I don't want to leave, and it's appeased the fans, and the fans have seen that he's loyal to them, and obviously he's an Inter boy. It's kept the ultras away from the owners. I was talking to Iggy. I went to the Steve Perryman night with Iggy, and even Iggy said, from what he's looking at, the player has spoken, his agent has spoken, the club has spoken, but the one person that hasn't come out are the Chinese owners to say, right, this is our stance. So they have not said a word. I don't know about other deals, but especially about Bastoni. So they haven't come out. They've kept very tight-lipped about it. And I am just very confident that this one gets done. And I'm going to keep saying that I really do think that this deal is going to get done. They're just trying to see until the end of the month whether the debt needs to be paid by, or that they need to show on the bank statement that they're the amount they need to be in.
But if they do sell Skriniar, there probably isn't a need for them.
But this is the thing. It was PSG, but that deal seems to have fallen through. I think it's Bastoni to Tottenham. I really, really do. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, legs crossed, everything crossed. But I honestly think it's going to happen.
I hope you're right. Because he'd be a fantastic signing. It's one that Conte really wants. But it seems like we are still pushing for him. And again, we have to wait and see. There could be a lot of movement over the next few days. But look, now it's time for you guys to have your say. We are going to be taking callers on the transfer news. So let's start getting the callers on. And we'll start with Mikey.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey Mikey, how you doing, my friend? You all right?
I'm doing well, yeah. I'm just enjoying the sun. It's been a couple days with rain, but you know, sun's back. So
enjoying the summer?
Hell yeah, it's been hot over the past week, but it's not as hot as the Tottenham transfer rumors.
Exactly. Tell me about it. What's your thoughts at the moment with how things are going? Who are you excited about bringing in and stuff like that, or who are you disappointed about potentially missing out on?
So I never thought we would land Raphinha. I think he's a player that we've got. If we didn't have Kulu and we were relying on Lucas Moura, I would have thought we would have been. But with the form that Kulusevski showed in the second half of the season, I thought that would be pretty unlikely. I would love to see Richarlison get done. Obviously, he can play on the left, can play in the centre, would provide good cover. But I wouldn't want that to be the only attacking signing we made if we were to lose Bergwijn, because I saw a report a couple hours ago that if the Aller deal looks increasingly likely to go through, meaning Ajax will free up more cash to sign Steven Bergwijn as not as direct replacement, because they're very different players, but as another attacking option for them. So if the Aller deal does go through, it looks like Bergwijn to Ajax might gather some more momentum. I'd be sad to see him go, but ultimately probably is a necessary sacrifice given he doesn't want to stay. and he's not going to play in the left wing position that Son inhabits for us. I'm happy that Pierre will stay. I'm happy that Pierre will stay. He's definitely. I've always maintained that with our three new midfielders, I'd say Højbjerg starts, and it's between Bissouma and Bentancur who partners him, because I think you can't take. I think both Bissouma and Bentancur are dynamic midfielders, but Højbjerg is a very sitting presence. He's the sitting midfielder, and I don't think you can take that out of this side, which only has two midfielders protecting a back three. So I'm happy he's staying.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think Højbjerg would be stupid to let him go right now. In terms of a potential deal for Eriksen, what's your stance on that right now?
I'm of the opinion that if we did get him back, it would be a very, very welcome return. And obviously, if we're looking to offload obviously, if we were getting an Eriksen, that means our midfield with good choices would be Højbjerg, Skip, Eriksen, Bissouma, and Bentancur, which would be a five midfielders fighting for a two-man spot. And obviously, you've got Winks, Lo Celso, and Ndombele, who look like they're out of the door. Everton seem to be the number one destination for Winks at the moment, maybe following Delhi. And I'm not sure if we'd be able to get rid of Ndombele or Lo Celso. We'll see how, because Lo Celso to Villarreal's kind of stalled in the water. But I would say that our midfield options might be a little oversaturated with him there, but at the same time, he does provide the quality that we currently don't have. So it's a gamble, because you'd be denying other players opportunities, because the midfield two is probably going to be Højbjerg and Bissouma if he plays like he did at Brighton. It'd be Højbjerg and Bissouma. And Eriksen's a player that you kind of want him to start, but then if he comes in the front three, you've got Kulusevski and Son, so it's very competitive for places, but he wouldn't necessarily be a starter. And I'd be a little worried that we'd be oversaturated in a midfield position. But again, he brings quality that we don't have at the moment.
Mikey, if it wasn't to be Eriksen, who would you look at realistically for creativity that's available?
Harry Kane? No. Thing is that we need that game-changing element, because teams know. Look, Burnley, Southampton, Watford, they were able to trump us with 11 men behind the ball and just sit deep and counter, which is obviously our philosophy, and when it's used against us, it seems to be particularly effective. So you do need someone who can play those passes, and Bentancur, Højbjerg, Bissouma, they're not those technical players that can just pick a pass, pick the lock. And Eriksen is the best player on the market that wouldn't command an astronomical fee. I'd love to see someone like James Maddison at Tottenham, but first of all, he's a childhood gooner, and second of all, he'd cost upwards of 50 mil, because Leicester are already getting rid of Tielemans this summer, so he'd cost even more. So Eriksen would be like the most likely option, given what the market is like at the moment. He'd be the best option, and with his history at the club, he would slot right back in. But again, is he going to want to play not a bit part role, but a rotating role rather than a guaranteeing starter role like he had at Brentford?
I guess, yeah, his stage of the career, he might decide he doesn't want that, but look, he could earn a starting spot at Tottenham. That's reality. So I wouldn't necessarily think it's a choice with one or the other, because I do think could potentially be a place for him in the team. But Mikey, good to see you as always, my friend. Good to speak to you, and you have a good day.
You too, guys. Enjoy.
See you later on, Mikey, matey.
Bye.
All right, let's move on. That was Mikey. Let's bring on Elias. Let's bring him on the show. Elias, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, doing good. Enjoying the news on the transfer market and missing football, definitely.
Yeah, you happy with how the transfer window is going at the moment?
Quite happy. I mean, imagine we already got 3 players in, and I was pretty excited today. I just saw news. We got some Spence. We signed a Spence. Somebody posted in a group chat.
Oh, yeah.
It was not Jed Spence. It was a lady signing.
Yep.
But even happy for that. So really excited to see the things that are going on in the market. But I'll be actually looking forward to the Eriksen deal now very much. Uh, and I'm happy to know from your inside source that yeah, he has verbally agreed. That's a good one.
Look, that's what we're hearing. Obviously, look, there are other journalists at the moment saying that Tottenham are downplaying the fact that we're agreed a deal for Eriksen, but we're hearing that Spurs and Eriksen verbally agreed a deal. We have to wait and see what comes out. But is that a deal you're in favour of if it does come to fruition?
Yeah, it's a deal in our favor, definitely. But I mean, a lot of people have been asking this question that yes, if Eriksen comes in, where does he play? Would you drop Kulu or would you drop like Bisuma, Bentancur, or Højbjerg? I was actually just wondering, like, let's say if Kulu goes in as our right wing back and Eriksen comes in into midfield, or he plays behind the two strikers. That sort of formation actually makes our lineup like very creative and really very offensive, and especially when we have to break the attack, break the defenses.
Elias,
Yeah.
so when Eriksen, how did you feel when Eriksen left, and then obviously how have you been feeling since the rumours started? Because like I said earlier, I was one that was so happy to see him out the club, and when the rumours started, I was like, hell no, hell no. But now I'm kind of accepting and think he could do bits for us. What's your Eriksen story from when he left to now?
Actually, Eriksen's story, I personally feel, is misrepresented a lot in the market. People say that yeah, oh, he just wanted to go. He was poisonous. Blah 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 blah. I personally think that Eriksen left because he just wanted a new challenge, a new element towards his game, something slightly different. And we all need something like that in our life. Just a little change to motivate us further to get us ahead. And that was a good move, I would say. Eriksen to Milan was a good move, and he played well in that season. And after the injury now with Brentford as well, you can see there are a lot of improvements in his game. Now, if you see the Eriksen playing now versus the Eriksen 2 to 3 years ago, he is a transformed player with all the even with all the drama that he went through, even in the Euro 2020 and all that. He is a transformed player. So I wasn't definitely happy when he left, but I was like, okay, if he needs a challenge in his life, let him move on. But as when I heard about him coming back, I was really, singing the Eriksen chant. Eriksen, sen, he's our number 23. Eriksen, sen, he's our number. He's a you'd like you and me to the left, to the right. He's our midfield dynamite. When he plays in
Plays in
Lily
Lily
White, he
White.
makes Bruno look shite. I have a new
I
one.
I was about to say what we're going to change the last line to, and
He
then
makes Jesus look shy.
there you go. There you go. There's another one.
Bruno look shite.
Exactly, brilliant. Who's your priorities now? If we're putting Eriksen to one side, what kind of player do you see as the priority to bring in, position-wise?
Other than Eriksen, if in
Yeah, putting
creative,
Eriksen to one side, yeah.
in creative midfield or in any position,
In any position. Who'd be your priority?
I would say left sided centre back definitely.
And who do you think, if Bastoni is unattainable, who would be your choice?
Torres. I'll go for
Torres.
Torres.
Pau
There's
Torres.
another guy. Yeah, there's another guy we are linked with. His name is Guardiol, I think. That guy.
Gavardio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
He
Guardiol.
looks also very expensive. I think he's going to cost upwards of 80 million.
Yeah, he's definitely very expensive. So I won't take him if he's 80 million. So maybe if Torres comes in, I'm quite happy already. But with Guardiol, we have an extra element to our game because he's a Croatian, definitely familiar with Perisic in the Croatian squad. So if he joins us, it gives us that sort of familiarity and that sort of understanding that the two players can do in the combined player. Uh, so I would, but I don't think he'll come into us because of the price tag.
Fair
And
enough.
also, sorry,
Yeah.
continue.
And in terms of the forward positions, what kind of forward would you like us to sign to be linked with Raphinha and Richarlison and people of the like? Who would be your number one?
Oh, this one is a tough one. The names out there are very very prominent one. I would like to have a younger signing, someone who is not just a current asset, but someone whom we can look up to future. Like let's say if one day Kane were to leave us or Kane gets injured, somebody who can definitely fill in that position easily. Not somebody like who is very old. Definitely not an older player. Someone that we can say that yes, this player is playing for us. He's someone who let's say 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road, he can actually score the kind of goals like now Skane is scoring or Son is scoring when they retire. He is that kind of. I want that sort of signing. Like you can look at it, the kind of players like let's say Holland or Nunes. They are young players, but they are definitely the kind of players who are already in the making for the future. I want someone like that. So I think Martinez won't be a bad one if we can land him.
I
And
mean, that's also going to be an impossible one. You like the impossible deals,
Yeah.
don't you, Elias?
Reach for the stars.
Richarlison won't be a bad one as well, especially if he comes under Conte. No, you know why I'm talking about these deals? Because I do see a lot of money coming into our squad because of the sales that we are gonna have. If I was just calculating, we almost have like 8 to 9 players at least in the sales. And if you sell all of them like by 15, and they are all about 15 to 20 million like that, if you sell all of them, you are making about 180 to 190 million just in your sales. And if you go with that sort of money coming in, why not actually aim for one star signing like Martinez or Guardiola? Go spend it, guys. Like,
All right. Elias, good to see you, mate. Nice to chat to you. And
Nice
we'll
one.
speak. Nice for you to call in, and we'll speak to you very soon,
See
mate.
you soon,
Cheers for calling in.
Elias.
Come on, you Spurs. Nice one. All right. That was Elias. That was a really good call. But next up, it's me. It's KPV.
What's
Kyle
up, buddy?
Perisic Vineyard. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant.
How you doing, buddy?
Come on,
I'm
Kyle.
good.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm wearing the Italian Job t-shirt. I'm still undefeated in. I haven't lost yet. So
Damn right.
good.
What's your feelings at the moment, Kyle? What have you come on to talk about?
Oh my God, are you mad? Nothing much at all. Like, not much. Give me an update. Give me
you an update. Have you watching the stream? Kyle,
Yo,
tell me, who do you want? What striker do you want to sign? Let me know. I want to know what your thoughts are. What striker you want to sign?
striker wise, like, I'd probably say I prefer Gabriel Jesus. As, yeah, Brian probably said he preferred Gabriel Jesus. Like, yeah, Gabriel Jesus I probably prefer. I know he can play, what, 3 positions, but I prefer Gabriel Jesus for me.
Apparently, Gabriel Jesus would rather be a winger. Apparently, that's what
Oh, really?
I've just been
What?
hearing from Tim Vickery.
Oh, is it?
Very reliable journalist out in
Yeah, of
Brazil.
course.
He says that the hold up in the deal is Jesus isn't 100% sure he wants to be a central striker anymore.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
as
big.
you've seen, I don't know if you've seen for City, he plays out wide, doesn't he?
Yeah,
doesn't
he
play
has,
up
but
front,
predominantly-
even when they don't have a striker.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he
maybe
was,
there's something to that.
he was wide right to begin with, or wide, sorry, right left because of Aguero, wasn't he? So that was the. But since he's gone, you're right. You're right.
Still
He
playing
has
on the
been.
wide. Would you take Jesus as a winger, Kyle?
Yes, I would.
And that's
Okay,
that.
okay. What do you see him good attribute wise as a winger? What's ticking the boxes for you, Kyle?
Goals, assists, I think. Speed, dribbling, same thing. Like, everything about him, I think, is brilliant. Like, he can, like, take people out, but that's what I like about him. I think he'll do great. Another Brazilian to link up with the Amsterdam hero,
Yeah.
Lucas Moura. Yeah, like, I probably prefer Gabriel Jesus than the other two, but Raphinha or Richarlison. But yeah, I just would stick or go for Gabriel Jesus. And like I hear there's stuff going around about Eriksen coming back. Like I know, Brian, you're gonna ask what is the story from before to now. I think I was a bit upset when he left. I know he treated us badly, but I thought he was brilliant. Like he scored against United 2 times when we bought him, but he was brilliant. You can see the goals he did score were brilliant. A few stunners, but I take him back honestly because he's Tottenham through and through. He loves the club. I know. Yeah, he loves the club. Why not? Bring him back 2 Danish midfielders, Højbjerg, Eriksen, and yeah, why not? Then
Oh.
we can win big things, but that's gonna be great. But as I said, Bastoni's not dead. That deal is not dead, and it will get done. I can assure you that.
You can
is-
assure
There you
me,
go.
Brian. What? How? Not Brian. Kyle. How
Perisic.
can you assure me?
He's reaching
What
out to Milan
assurances
with
can
his
you give me,
Perisic
Kyle?
views.
What assurances can you give me, Kyle?
I said I can assure you the deal is gonna get done.
Yeah, what assurances can you give me? What are the assurances? I want to know.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I haven't got a Scooby Doo, but
Fair enough.
Kyle, so something you will have a Scooby Doo about. What's your thoughts on the news that Perisic? You got Perisic in your name. Højbjerg is going nowhere. For me, it's brilliant. What about yourself?
yeah, for me it's brilliant because there's no way we're gonna sell him because he's played 100 games in over 2 years. Like, there's no way he's going. We bought him from Southampton in exchange for Kyle Walker-Peters. Like, yeah, I like Højbjerg. I think he's brilliant. I've got a shirt with his name on the back, the yellow one. Like, if Eriksen deal doesn't get done, then go for James Ward-Prowse, a free kick specialist. But it looks like we have one in Heung-min Son. But why not get James Ward-Prowse?
Interesting. Maybe we
Well-
will, but it could be very expensive. But Kyle, Kyle, it's been great to chat to you as always, my friend. Good to see you. Great T-shirt as always, mate. And we'll speak to you very soon.
Yeah, and as always, back Conte.
See you later, Kyle, buddy.
Right.
See you, my man.
All right. That was a KPV. And from one goat to another, let's bring on the Joracle. How are we doing, Jory?
I'm good. How about you
Big up,
guys?
Jory.
It's good to see you, man. Hope
Yeah,
you're doing
no
well.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I want to congratulate you guys on finally you got rid of that Ben guy, man. Damn. Every time you were speaking sense, he used to interrupt you and never agreed with you. I don't know why he's stuck around this long, but at least he fixed it now, right?
I'm gonna
So,
clip that. I'm gonna clip that and send it to him. Don't you worry.
Yeah, good. Brian
brilliant.
is a great upgrade, by the way. So,
Oh, thank you, Jory. Thank you. Your check's in the mail.
yeah, no problem.
Jory,
No, I'm great, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And the transfer window at the moment in full swing. We've made 3 signings already. Many. Oh, there you go. Getting a phone
I
call.
swear that was Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas.
Is it?
I
I'm not
swear
sure.
that sounded like
Sound
it.
like something from Black Mirror.
No, it's just a basic, just a default, some ringtone. Nothing
They-
interesting.
Um,
Yeah, you were
Look,
saying.
yeah, so we've got obviously a lot of deals still to get done before the pre-season tour in South Korea. What ones are you thinking are the biggest priorities right now for you to try and get over the line before we go over to South Korea?
I mean, priority-wise, I would say definitely the centre back and something right wing back or something like that. But I think the centre back might drag out because I agree with Brian. I think we're gonna continue until it's absolutely dead, and I don't think Bastoni is dead. So I think really what they're looking at, or what we're doing is like we're seeing Inter's problems, and we're saying, okay, they either gotta release Bastoni or Lautaro or both of them. I mean, if Lukaku is coming back, they have to sell Lautaro as I see it, you know. So I think we're kind of trying to pounce. I think our number one thing that we want to take from Inter is Bastoni, but if we can't do it, then we might go for Lautaro instead. But I think, I think maybe the centre back is one that's going to drag the most out. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if we basically got everything ready. You know, that's kind of the feeling you're getting around Conte's new house here. Is like everybody is just working day and night and really getting things done. You know, so yeah. But I think like our huge priority is of course getting another world class centre back. I think that's definitely a number one priority. But there are many, you know. So you know, I think what you just said about Højbjerg, where did that statement come from? That he's definitely staying.
That was from Ali Gold.
Oh right, all right.
Yeah, so you said Gary Jacobs removed the statement,
yeah, because
didn't he?
there was an article from Gary Jacob of the Times saying that Winks and Højbjerg could be up for sale, and then he retracted the Højbjerg line and he took out the article. So it looks like he's definitely going to be here over the summer.
Yeah, and that's like a one also. Even if we wanted to change something there or upgrade or have a more Conte-esque player or whatever, I don't think that's a priority. I think we can easily go one window or more with Højbjerg. I mean, Højbjerg's been fantastic. And even if he's not the perfect fit in Conte's mind, I really think we've got much bigger issues to deal with before we deal with that. Also, I kind of see it as a half confirmation of Eriksen being in, to be honest. You know, they wouldn't, I think it would be complete insanity to push Højbjerg out the door if Eriksen's coming in, because those two are going to be like they have many hours, and that's going to be a second telepathic relationship there for sure.
Obviously we released a report that we've received that Eriksen has verbally agreed to return back to Spurs, but from what I don't know if you've seen the reports from today, there has been a lot of cold water poured on that. Do you think Ali Gold says Spurs have been distancing themselves from Eriksen return? Romano's saying that he's set to choose between Man United and Brentford and potentially Spurs as well. Do you think that if Tottenham at the moment are distancing themselves from a return for Eriksen, does that mean that deal's dead for you? Or do you still think that this could be going under the radar?
I don't think it's that, but if that's true, this is the first I hear of it. So for me, like if I have to speculate, and you know me, I love speculating, so I'll do that. For me, that sounds like maybe the pushback that I was actually watching a lot of United and Arsenal transfer videos the last couple of days, and United fans are furious with their window. And the Eriksen thing was one of the things that they were furious about. So I could see a scenario where the United guys are now, you know, knee-jerk reaction and throwing a lot of money Eriksen's way, because I think it's already clear Eriksen doesn't want to go to Manchester, but of course United can offer a salary that basically nobody, if they really want them, they can offer one that nobody really, apart from maybe City, can match, you know. So maybe something like that is going on, but I really think Eriksen, and not to be underestimated, his family wants to be in London, you know. So I think if he's going to go with the pocket, and like we're the middle road, we're like better money, and but still in familiar territory. If they're gonna go completely cozy, they'll go to Brentford. You know, that's a lot less money, but it's London, and it's, you know, surrounded by Danes and so on. You know, so there's a lot of Danes around that club. So, but I think we're also very much his home. But I think just like Brian voiced, you know, his reservations or how he felt about Eriksen's departure. I think a lot of people felt like that, and I think maybe Eriksen feels the same in terms of his dealings with Levy and stuff like that. And I would say in terms of that, like what we saw with Eriksen was really just foreshadowing what we saw with Kane. Of course, Eriksen maybe took it further, being Danish, being Scandinavian, he will be very upfront and very honest with his stuff, whereas you Brits are maybe more courteous and take a longer time getting to the point, basically. But so I think you can't put that on Eriksen alone. Of course, Eriksen, should have shown up even with his conflict with Levy and stuff like that. I mean, the final and stuff like that is definitely the things that come to mind, But I also think that whole season, the more you dig into that, the more you understand that how much of not a fluke, but maybe a miracle is a better word or something, We really shouldn't have done what we did. And speaking of midfielders, Lucas is, of course, a huge part of that miracle that happened there. And not only the Ajax game, but he was actually really, one of the driving forces, the way I saw it, like in terms of motivation, because there was big problems already then, But so I don't think we should ever be so simple as to just put it on Eriksen. I think the Kane situation proved it a couple of months later.
You know what, Yori? There's a question because we're so busy talking about transfers incoming.
Yeah.
What's your feeling so far on the lack of activity on the outgoings? Or obviously, like we've seen, Lo Celso rumours gone dead, Emerson rumours just percolating. But we need to be serious. There will be outgoings, and there need to be a lot of outgoings. What do you think on the lack of it so far?
Well, I actually love it. I think I don't know if you guys have bought a house yet or ever bought a house, but you have that problem the same if you own a house already or an apartment. Are you gonna sell first or are you gonna buy first? A lot of people here in Iceland, at least, and most people will buy first. They don't want to end up in the situation of basically being on the street. Whereas I actually did it the other way around, and it means that you can, when you have your finances laid out in either direction, really. But for me, it was definitely what we're doing now is we're buying the house up front, and that means that we can basically jump on any deal when it's ready. You could say the same for the other direction, but I just think like when you're seeing this unidirectional thing is maybe what I'm trying to say, that we're doing a lot on one side but not so much on the other side. It actually kind of makes it easier, I think, because that means that you're just finishing that work, and then when you know what that work is, now you can then wholeheartedly go. Now you know everybody you need to sell, and you can just go all out into that. Whereas if it's a little bit in both departments, you might be going like, oh man, we shouldn't sell Højbjerg. If we don't get him, then we need Højbjerg. Stuff like that, So they could have sold them all to start with. I would have been happy with that as well. But I think like buying is the way to go. Also, just not to miss out on the deals, and seeing us concentrate on that means to me that we're gonna basically get our setup as far along as possible for next season. And then we know what we can, with no reservations, kind of go and sell. So I'm happy to see it. To be honest, I think we'll get rid of a lot of players before the window closes for sure. So
let's hope. We need to, don't we? We do need to get some of these players out. But the only reason I say that as well, because obviously we have the 150 million, we have Champions League, we have fourth place money, but there's no doubt they're going to need to see some incoming expenditure and get some of these players out and off the wage bill and everything. So I hope that Lo Celso and Emerson can get done. Then it's them go buying crazy again.
I mean, there's all the logistical, the squad. You need to line up a squad. You need to get the wage bill down, but also the players that some players will probably be a little bit sore, seeing that they're on the out list, and not the in list. And if they hang around now and don't go out, then you have that situation to deal with. I think all of those personalities, all of those are already out now. The most difficult in terms of just managing their egos and their feelings and stuff like that. So I'm not that worried about the wings or anybody, especially not like a Højbjerg or something like that. I wouldn't worry at all. But it's I just think we're into a period now with Ante Conte where we just do the things the right way. That's where Conte gets his credibility with the players. It's not because of this method or the other method or whatever. It's because he's a principled man when dealing with the club, with the squad. Everything football is principled in his actions, and that's why he gets respect. So I think we will definitely. I don't think we would ever see a situation like the Kane situation with Conte as manager. I don't think Conte would ever allow that to happen again. So. So I just to sum it all up, Brian, I would say I just feel like our house is running absolutely perfectly. To be honest, I don't really feel any signals. Oh, this deal might be off. This might not go. But all signal-wise, I feel like it's a completely different organization right now. I hope that continues. My feelings, at least, around that continues.
Long may that continue. Let's hope, Jory.
And I mean, I also think. Sorry to. I won't keep you long. I just think. I think we're still seeing like Paratici now. Trying to upgrade the deal as well. Even though we might have a certain target. I mean, the latest rumor I heard was about Hakimi. I don't think that's ever been on the list, and I don't know how much there is to that rumor or whatever, but I can definitely see a scenario where Paratici is always, with his ear to the ground and now there might be an opening for Hakimi or what, because the Skriniar deal didn't go through or whatever. I don't know how really that how the mechanics of that works, but I still think we're still going to be really clever and try and get as much as possible for money. I mean, I think what he's done already, these deals we've got in already are amazing, to be honest. We've hardly spent any money and we're already upgraded, seriously upgraded our squad, so. It's beautiful to see, to be honest. I feel like Paratici is running everything transfer now, no Levy. I don't feel any presence of Levy anywhere now. So it's a nice feeling.
I agree. It is nice, and hopefully Paratici can continue the work he's been doing. It's been a good window so far, but got a lot of work still to get done, and hopefully we can get on with it. But Jory, it's been great to speak to you as always, mate. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Take care.
Hopefully take care very, very soon.
Don't forget the hug from me, all right? Take care.
Don't you worry. Cheers.
Yeah.
Nice one. That was the Joracle, as always, giving some great insight there. Got to love Jory.
He's a diamond. I love it. And obviously, I got to meet him in person at your 100,000 party.
Yeah.
And meeting the man is just as good as speaking to the man. He's a top guy.
100%. One top guy to another top guy, and we have Bob Spur TV in the house. How are we doing, Bobby? You all right?
All good, guys. Thank you very much. Hope you are well.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. How are you doing? What's been going on with you today?
Yeah, obviously Father's Day yesterday. Saw the kids. Absolutely amazing. Made my day, considering I might not have been around for the Father's Day. Made the most of it. Absolutely made the most of it. And happy Father's Day for yesterday to all the great fathers and not so much for all the shit ones.
Glad to hear it, Bobby. Glad to hear it. Look, the transfer window is well underway now. What are your thoughts about the business we have remaining to do? What would you like to see get done in terms of personnel?
Yeah, we're averaging a signing a week so far, aren't we? Since the end of the season, or just over the season ended. So going well. I don't know why people are losing their shit over Eriksen happening or not. Yes, it'd be great to have him back. Of course it would. But our mindset in the transfer windows quite clearly a progressive one, a bit of ambition finally. So, I think if we don't get Eriksen in, we'll just go to another. And who that another will be, we don't know. Hopefully it's another Basuma in the making where we wake up on a Tuesday and he's announced on the Wednesday. We become aware of it. On Thursday, he has his medical. On Friday, he holds up the shirt. And obviously, we chill on a Sunday.
So, Bob, brother, you were just saying as well, if it's not him, do you have someone that you would, if you were manager and you had the chance to go for someone that could add creativity to that midfield, where are you going realistically?
What, attacking midfield-wise?
As in that missing... So Eriksen was obviously coming in to be the creative one, so we're looking at a creative midfielder. So where would you go?
I'll be honest. I mean, the only reason I feel slightly excited, about McKennie is because of Will Stewart.
Yeah.
What he goes on about. Savic is good. It'd be a perfect fit, but how much do we spend on him? I mean, there aren't that many options out there. I've heard of Maddison being brought into the conversation, but he's not really linked that much to any clubs out there. So for me, man, I mean, if we're talking about creativity, it's got to be the wing backs we need to be concentrating on. I put it on in our chat this morning. Sim, I think we need to get that right. Perisic, as good as he is, he's going to play 38 games all season. I don't think any wing back is, but how much game time will he give us? Sessegnon, I do still think is fragile, and I think that a couple of good games towards the end of the season is papering over a lot of poor performances and cracks. Emerson, same argument for him, although he's not fragile, I do think. Doherty, we just don't know what kind of player we're going to get back after a serious injury, man, and he might not even be fit for the beginning of the season. Reguilon's gone, and Spence isn't the answer. And the way we play, I don't think, although I do believe we need an attacking midfielder as an option within the squad, our creativity clearly is coming from the wing backs, and that's for me is more important. We need to improve on, and like I keep on saying, Hakimi is a Kleenex rating 10 for me, man. That's one player that
you reckon there's a chance we can get him?
I don't know, man. It's there's a lot of talk about him being unhappy. There's talks of PSG putting him in a deal to get Skriniar in, which I think is madness, man. But why not test the water? There's nothing out there to suggest we're not. At the same time, there's nothing out there to suggest that we will. But for me personally, that would be, I believe he's the best right wing back wing back in the world. He really is.
Okay, so Bob, also, I didn't know a lot about, what's the left wing back you said from Germany that we...
David Raum.
Do you know anything about him, or what do you think of him?
Nothing. I don't know nothing about him.
Yeah, same.
I don't know nothing. But, we're hoping that due diligence has been done, whoever we bring in.
Yep.
And if he comes in and he gives us an extra option, Perisic is good at left wing back. Although he's right-footed, he does well at right wing back. He's done well for his club and country down that position. So whichever left wing we'll bring in, as long as they're an improvement on a Reguilon and a Sessegnon, then I'm fine with that. Reguilon, obviously, I think we'll lose. I think that's pretty definitive. He's gone. So Sessegnon, Perisic, and a quality left wing back, I think we're fine. I think left wing back we're okay. We can improve on that. Right wing back for me is more important than an attacking midfielder right now. I really believe
But
that.
in terms of Eriksen,
Yeah.
do you believe that deal is getting away from us, or do you think if I read this update from Ali Gold, what he said in his article, he said Football London understands that Spurs were in contact with Eriksen's camp about a potential return just a couple weeks ago, but have not followed that up since, with United, Everton, Newcastle, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford also having made contact about the midfielder, as well as Ajax and one unnamed La Liga side.
Yeah.
With his family settled in London, there have been some suggestions that the Dane was initially keen to remain in the capital, but that is not thought to be the only case at this point, with so many options on the table for the experienced Premier midfielder. Do you believe then that deal's getting away from us, or do you think maybe that there's other reasons why potentially we haven't sewn this up just yet?
I think the key word, Sim, is contact. There's no contract been offered. I know the 350,000 a week was mentioned when Man United who were in a bit of a shit show themselves at the moment. We won't go into that. But there's no concrete offer that have been made. We haven't made contact, fair enough. But how many other teams have made contact since? Maybe there's a reason we haven't made contact. He's away on holiday. Maybe that's a reason. Maybe he doesn't want to discuss contracts right now. So there's many reasons. But for me, there's no definitive concrete offer that's coming from anyone, or a contract that's been offered from anyone. So as far as I see it, we're in the same boat as everyone else. The fact is, I say fact, the rumour mill states that he wants to stay in London and he wants to play in Champions League. Unless it's Chelsea, it's only us. Of course, there's Arsenal. Oh no, they're in the
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah.
Well played. And obviously, my feelings on Højbjerg. I'm going to ask everyone just because of my love for him. What's your thoughts now, hearing that categorically he's not for sale or he's not going to be sold this summer?
Great. I look at players, the way I look at it, if a player's getting sold from Spurs, does the selling of him make our squad weaker? And a squad without Højbjerg in it makes our squad weaker. Hands down. He's a great player to bring on when we want to solidify a result, a scoreline, a battler. Quality-wise, yes, of course, I do think Bissouma's better, will be better. We don't know 100% fact yet, but the quality that Bissouma brings is a bit more than what Højbjerg's given us so far, potentially. But no, there's no way I'd sell Højbjerg. I personally thought it was a bit of an insult that he'd be actually brought into a conversation when we were talking of selling midfielders when we've still got the lot.
Never have him on again, Sim.
I'll definitely consider that next time.
Yeah. Yeah, we're back.
Oh no, we're live. Oh hi.
We are live. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Welcome back.
Let me put my clothes back on. That's all good.
Bobby, you were saying about Højbjerg.
Yeah.
Do you believe he's a vital cog in Conte's team?
Yeah, he just gives that important option, doesn't he? A solid player. He hardly misses any games as well. What, 2-3 games in 2 years? So, imperative. And like I said, I don't know how much of it was caught, but Højbjerg out of our squad makes our squad weaker. And like I say, it was insulting talking about him going with the likes of Lo Celso and Dembele and Wink still around. I thought it was, massive insult.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think he's a top player in Conte's squad. I actually think he's been our most consistent midfielder ever since that game against Wolves where he got dropped. I think he's been brilliant since then. It'd be interesting to see how Bissouma fits in with him and Bentancur and the like when they played together.
Yeah, it's a great conversation to have, though, isn't it, Sim? Which of the four do we start? Bissouma, Skip, Bentancur, or Højbjerg, rather than who do we start? Bentancur, Højbjerg or a Winks and another. You know, it's a different conversation, a better conversation, and that's what we want. We want options where if two players come in, a player comes in, it doesn't weaken the first team, and having Højbjerg around allows us to do that.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Bobby, good to see you as always, my friend. Great to have you on. And let's hope for some new signings over the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, well, I think it'll be a nice, busy week, and Arsenal can buy whoever they want. Let them get excited. They had to bring Vieira out of retirement, didn't they? So, hey, that's where they're going.
I'll
That's
give
where
you a
they're
call
going.
later, Superman.
No, you don't have to. All right, see you later. Cheers. Big up. Come on.
See you later, brother.
Nice one. All right. I believe he was the last caller of the day. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, again, for contributing to the stream, for all your super chats, your likes, your views. Brian, appreciate you as always, my friend. Go over and subscribe to Tottenham on
Please
Tour
do.
if you haven't already. Come on, people. Brian deserves it. Show him some love. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.